Hey guys, welcome to this video. In this video I want to show you how to create a chart in Python. This is going to be another Python coding tutorial where I walk you through exactly how to write this program. Alright, so you can see that over here I have the instructions for the program commented out and in red. Those are commented out so that they don't affect our program when it actually goes and needs to run. The instructions say to create a program that outputs a chart of distance versus time. It says you will ask the user to input the number of hours traveled and the speed of the vehicle in miles per hour. It says you will then output a table showing the distance traveled at the end of each hour. You must use a for loop to create the table. Now that we know the instructions, we can actually begin writing our program. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to write a print statement telling the user what this program is about. So I'm going to say print. And the reason that we're doing this is because when this runs, the user will never see our comments in the program. They're only going to see our print statements. So that means that we want to tell them what the program's going to do with the input that we're asking for. We don't want to just automatically jump in and start asking them to give us input. So I'm going to say print, and this program will output a chart of distance versus time. Right, and then we want to also tell them what information it is that they're going to need to enter. I'm going to say print. You will need to enter the number of hours traveled and the speed of the vehicle in miles per hour. And it's always good to write the unit so that we know that we're talking in terms of the same unit. So that's why I have miles per hour there. Alright, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and start asking them to actually give me the input. So I'm going to say hours, that's going to be my variable. And then we're going to assume it's going to be an integer just for the sake of this program. Input, please enter the number hours traveled. And then we're going to do the same thing here with the speed. So I'm going to say speed is my variable. Int again, input, please enter the speed of the vehicle in miles per hour. Okay, so now that we have both of our inputs, I'm going to start actually creating the table. That's really the only input that we need from the user. So first I'm going to output the table headings, and I'm going to say print, and then I'm going to use an F string so that we can format our output to look like the headings of a table. So I'm going to go F, then we want hours to print. Then I'm going to go ahead and tab this over. Then we want distance, miles. We want that to print too. So that's our F string that's going to print the table headings. All right, so now if we go back and look at the instructions, it says you must use a for loop to create the table. So what we're going to do is we're going to use a for loop to loop through the hours in the range. So I'm going to say 4 hours in range. And then of course we want the range to be starting at hour number 1. And then we don't want it to go up to the hours. We want it to include the ending hour. So we're going to say hours plus 1. Because normally with a for loop for hours in range, it wouldn't include the final hour if we just had hours. So now after that, I'm going to say print, then another F string here. I want the actual variable hours to print. Then I'm going to do 2 tabs over because it looks a little bit neater. So I'm going to go tab, tab. Then next I want the hours times the speed to print. That'll give us the distance. And now the final thing that we need to do for this program is actually just make sure that the hours in the for loop increment by 1. So hours plus equals 1. Alright, so that's really all that we need for this program. Now I want to go ahead and run it so that you can see what the output's going to look like. Alright, so it looks good. So please enter the number of hours traveled. I'm going to go ahead and say 5 hours. The speed of the vehicle will go with 45 miles per hour. Alright, and there's our table. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, and then the distance after each hour. Alright, so that's really it for this program. Everything looks good and the output comes out nice and neat how we'd expect it to. I hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to have more Python coding practices and tutorials coming out soon.